This is Snow the Goalie, your weekly Flyers recap from Red Line to Red Line. Snow the Goalie is broadcasting live from Chickie's and Pete's and is heard on both 107.3 FM and 1490 WBCB and seen live on YouTube at WBCB Sports and Snow the Goalie, a Flyers podcast. Tonight's show is brought to you by Capital Grille, Chickie's and Pete's, and Payroll Service Solutions. We now go live to Chickie's and Pete's for Snow the Goalie. Now, here are your hosts, Anthony SanFilippo, Russ Joy, and former Flyer Chris Therien.
Welcome in to Snow the Goalie here on WBCB. We are live from Chickie's and Pete's at Parks Casino. It's my first time in Parks Casino.
Up here in beautiful Bensalem, Pennsylvania.
Bensalem.
Mine too.
It's your first time here?
Yeah.
It's a nice place.
Yeah, nice, yeah.
I will tell you. Here, I'll give a shameless plug.
Go right ahead.
I have been to the sports books of Vegas. I have been to the sports books in Pennsylvania and some in New Jersey. The sports book in the back of Parks Casino might be right up there with some of the better ones in Vegas.
Really?
I was impressed. I was.
That's great.
It's a wonderful place to watch a game, or many games. Ton of screens, huge screens.
Wow.
You got a bar there. You don't have to go far. Got nice, comfy chairs.
As nice as this place is, I couldn't have parked any further away from where we had to be.
Really?
I'm so far away out in the parking lot. It's ridiculous. When I walked into the door and they told me where I had to go and I kept walking and walking, I was like, holy cow. I could have parked so much closer. It's a hike. It was a hike for me today.
That's good for you. It's
Yeah,
good for all
good
of us.
exercise.
You know, got to get your steps
Get
in.
my steps
You
in.
work remote. I work remote. You know,
Yeah,
you got
get
to get those Tootsie Toes.
Yeah, get the steps
moving
in.
a little
Absolutely.
bit. You know? Get the steps
Absolutely.
going.
But yeah, we're out here at Chickie's and Pete's in Parks Casino in Bensalem. Come out and see us. Usually it's every Wednesday, but we're doing a Tuesday show tonight because of the holiday this week. But we'll be back at it next Wednesday in South Philadelphia, 5 to 6 p.m. because there's a Flyers game at home next Wednesday night. So that's at 7:30. So we will be at Chickie's and Pete's in South Philly from 5 to 6, the flagship Chickie's and Pete's location. So be sure to come out and see us there. But
We had a lot of fun the last time we were out there, too.
we did. We had Fridge
I
came
think
on. It
we
was
were-
a good one.
We were pretty delirious by the time it was over, though, right? Like, we had that show for the hour.
And then we had an
had to
entire
cross
game.
the street and then go the entire game.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
Yeah,
it was a great night.
It was a good night. It was
a
a
great
good night. But we're talking about, our show a lot off the top here because the game last night was a no-show for the Flyers.
It sure was.
Right, Bundy? I mean,
They did not show up for that game. They could have. It was ripe for the taking too.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like, I was getting a little bit of, criticism online from our guy Amadeo, who said, just because I picked the Flyers, everybody else picked the Oilers, was somebody going to criticize me like we were ripping you, Russ, the other day when you picked, we only wanted to pick the Flyers, and then of course they won.
They did.
And I said no. I said the reason is because I looked at this and I saw all of those injuries on Tampa. They were missing so many players last night. They had one line and then a bunch of guys. And I thought, this is a great opportunity for the Flyers. They can come out here, play their game, and really steal one in Tampa. And then nobody showed up. Erson played okay, but, he only faced 17 shots. But, other than that, nobody played well in that game last night.
It was bad, and they're really going to have to make some hay on the road too. If this team's going to want to make the playoffs, they're going to have a good road record. They haven't played a ton of road games this year because they've had so many home games early in the year. They've done their job at home, but going out on the road has been a different story for them, and they're going to have to figure out how to go out and beat some of these teams that they're going to play because it's a different matchup for them when you're on the road than it is at home.
Yeah, and one of the things that was really noticeable last night, and we talked about this briefly before the show, Bundy, was that line with Mishkov, Couturier, and Brink just was as bad a game as a line could play last night. I don't think they worked together, and Rick Tocchet and the coaching staff might have to think about trying something else. And the problem that they face, in my mind, is, everybody says, well, play Mishkov with Zegras. Okay, but Zegras is a left wing. So you would say, all right, maybe you go Zegras, because Zegras and Dvorak have played well together.
Yeah.
I'd keep those two together.
Right, so keep those two together, but then you got to put Mishkov on the right. But Mishkov has played better on the left than he has on the right, on his off wing. So you really are now saying, do we want to put him in a spot where he's playing on the side that he's not as good at just to get him with Zegras?
Yeah.
And so that's the dilemma that they're facing. They may have to do it, but I think that it's not necessarily the right fit, if that makes sense.
Well, and listen, I can hit you with a real issue. I can hit you with the thing that I think is kind of the thing that's kind of looming over this entire thing.
Are you going to side with all the idiots online who blame the captain?
No.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with the captain. I don't mind the captain at all.
Okay.
I think that at some point, and I'm sure the conversation is being had, but I don't know why we're seeing what we're seeing. We often talk about the jostling of lines, right, about shaking it up. We had this talk a lot with Torts last year. Just nobody was ever able to build chemistry. At some point, you have to figure out what you have in some of these guys. And Zegras, to me, is one that, long term, because they're going to want to sign him. He presumably wants to sign here longer term. You have to give him at center a legitimate look.
Yeah.
You have to. Because and we talked about this the other night, if Trevor Zegras is a wing, he's still a really good wing. And hell, if he's a point-per-game player, awesome. Cool. You got him for virtually nothing in a trade. Awesome. That's a great find. Great job by Danny. Good bit of trade, right? But if he's a center, it changes everything because now that logjam at wing gets cleared up a little bit. And the problem is whether, I know you think he's a wing and a lot of people seem to think he's a wing. You need to have a long enough look at that before you make that determination because, again, this is where we get into the difference between you're in year 3 of the rebuild and you should be able to experiment with a few things versus you're trying to put together the lineup that you would try to go into the playoffs with. And I don't think they're doing themselves a service here by having Zegras play on the wing. Cool, it works. We know it works. Try him at center for an extended period and get a definitive idea of does it happen or not. Because, by the way, negotiating, who gets paid more, a center or a wing?
Yeah, but here's the problem.
So if you can rule out that he's a center, maybe it also helps you at the negotiating table a little bit.
And I'll ask you about this, Bundy, because here's where the problem lies. They've tried him at center.
Yeah, but not for a long time.
No.
They haven't really.
You're right. They haven't. But he has not looked good at all at the position, not necessarily in the offensive end, because he certainly looks good in the offensive end. He's creative in the offensive end. He makes other players look good in the offensive end. The problem isn't there. The problem is in the other, 120 feet of the ice, where he's does not play the position well. And that's the issue that they have. And if you're going to play him at center with Mishkov, who also plays zero defense, now what is that like when those guys are on the ice together?
Yeah,
right. That's the problem, and that's why I think that they've been reluctant to do that.
Yeah, and he doesn't take faceoffs very well either. But that can't be the one reason, though, that you don't give him more of an extended look at center. I think you brought him in. I mean, the idea was to give him a shot at center this year, right? Let him play center because Anaheim didn't believe that he was a center iceman either. They wanted to leave him at wing in Anaheim, and that was one of the reasons Pat Verbeek made the trade with Danny to give him a fresh start somewhere where he'd get a look at center. That's what he wanted. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. He's not a 200-foot center iceman, and that's the problem, where defensively he's not that big, strong, strapping center that can go back and make a defensive play, cover up for you. They're talking about guys like Keith Primo,
right?
That could really come back, plays a full 200-foot game. But he's done enough offensively that's, I think, where you have to give him the extended look.
Yeah.
At center and let him try to play with guys. I mean, I saw something the other day. I mean, it may be crazy, but why not just play with Mishkov and Forster? Give that a line a try.
It would be a fun line.
One of the guys over to the right side and see what happens with that.
Can I play a really crazy game? Bundy, tell me I'm an idiot, and it's fine. I'll take it from you. I won't take it from him, though. If you have a line that finds significant success at keeping the puck in the offensive end, is it as important that Trevor Zegras isn't a great 200-foot center? If the idea is that they're able to maintain possession consistently in the offensive zone, doesn't that outweigh? Isn't the cost benefit there, the risk assessment, isn't it more advantageous for the Flyers to have somebody who can do that, keep the puck in that end, more so than, be afraid of, oh, God forbid, it goes in the defensive zone. How will we ever get out of it? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, but the problem is, Russ, is he's not going to have the puck the whole time.
Yeah.
There's going to be times when you're in your own zone and you have to make good plays in the neutral zone and the defensive zone. And that's been a struggle for him at times to figure out the defensive responsibilities that has to occur on his watch as a center iceman. Yep. Yeah, I mean, ideally, would you love to have him playing offense the whole time? Of course.
Sure.
There's different things you can do to try to get him out there more, put him out for more offensive zone faceoffs, but they're not comfortable at him winning draws.
Yeah. Right. He's not good at draws.
He's not good at draws, so that's one problem. You can't just say we're going to stick him at center in the offensive zone if he can't get the puck back.
Yeah.
His puck retrieval, though, as a player when he's out in the ice is really good.
Yeah.
Like, he really does recover pucks well in the O-zone.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, maybe you put him – and they've tried this too, and it hasn't really bore any fruit. But maybe you try him in that hybridized role where when you're in the offensive zone, he's your center, but when he's on the shift for in the neutral zone or defensive zone, he's on the wing, and that's because Dvorak is flexible enough to play both positions, and maybe that's how you play it.
Yeah. Yeah, let the guy take the draw and just reassume your position after that.
Yeah.
And they've been doing that already.
Right.
I mean, they've been doing that already. It's just a matter of finding the lines that are going to gel and mesh well together.
Yeah.
Like, I do have a question, though, just about the face-offs especially, right? What's the face-off percentage that you ultimately want a good center to have? You want over 50%.
Well,
like,
yeah, I mean,
50%
is the bare minimum.
Okay.
Right.
That you would want. You don't want to be below 50.
Yeah.
Your best face-off guys are usually your best in the league are around 60.
Yeah.
So you want somewhere between 55 and 57 is like good, really good, right?
Yeah.
And that's usually where Coots is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Coots is usually in that 55 to 57 range.
So let me ask you a question. If we're that concerned about Trevor Zegras' inability in the face-off circle, what are our thoughts about a guy like Jack Hughes? Jack Hughes is a good player, right?
Yeah, what's your point?
What about him?
What does Jack Hughes do?
What does he do?
What does he do? What's his position? Jack Hughes.
Why are we talking about Jack Hughes?
Yeah, I'm trying to get.
I'll
know
circle
where you're
back
going.
around to it. Go ahead. I'll circle back around to it. We'll just let it marinate for a little bit.
Okay. So are you trying to compare Zegras to Jack Hughes?
I'm just throwing out the idea. They both take face-offs. They both historically have taken face-offs.
Yeah, but Jack Hughes is a significantly better player than Trevor Zegras.
I'm sure that he is. But I'm saying Trevor Zegras has a 3% better face-off percentage this season and last season than Jack Hughes does. That doesn't stop New Jersey from saying, well, Jack Hughes can't take face-offs.
But Jack Hughes is a more complete player.
Yeah, he's a much better
sure he
player.
is.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's
But
not.
I'm saying you're
not
looking at it,
just face-offs.
But you're looking at it a lot through the vantage or
No.
through the lens of he can't take a face-off, so you need Dvorak in there to take the face-offs for him. I guess my point is like
my argument, Russ, was that if you're going to play him some at center, what you can do is you can play him at center in the offensive zone. So that way, even if he loses the face-off, you're at least in position to defend. Whereas if you're in your defensive zone, he's out there and he loses that draw. Now all of a sudden, the other team's got the puck in your end. So that's the only thing. That when I say the hybridized version of it, you kind of get him. Hey, if he wins the draw, great.
Yeah.
Great. Then we're on the attack. If not, at least we're down that end of the ice.
I just don't think it's sustainable. You either have to go all in with him in one spot or not.
Well, that's why everybody thinks he's a winger.
But that's why I'm saying, like, I just don't know why Rick Tocchet doesn't seem open to the idea of the sink or swim. Give him 15 games, sink or swim. Why not? What honestly, like, what is the fear? Play this one out. What's the fear? What's the downside? Trevor Zegras goes out.
It's not
and proves he's not a center, and the Flyers don't win some games.
No,
is that the concern?
No, the concern is you can't play him with Mishkov together because neither one is defensively responsible. That's why. You could do it on the power play. You could do it in certain situations. If you're behind and you want to want to try and push for a goal late, and you're in the offensive end, okay, fine. Like, you could do things like that, and sure, that give them an opportunity to play together. But on a regular 5-on-5 tie game throughout the game, you don't want those two playing together. Mishkov is flying the zone left, right, and center. Like, you have nobody to defend. You heard Tocchet talking about it last night after the game where he's like, don't put the blame on the defense. We give up all those odd man rushes. That's on the forwards. And he's 100% right. Right, Bundy? Like,
yep.
Those odd man rushes, they go up 8 odd man rushes was it the second period? I think it was. It was whatever it was. They had 8 odd man rushes. And he was like, don't blame the defenseman on that. That's our forwards are not in position. And he's right. And so now imagine putting two guys who are who have very little defensive responsibility on the ice for a regular shift together, you're going to have that all the time.
Well, then they're screwed, and this rebuild has been a failure. Because if you're, I mean,
Well, it's not a failure.
I'm saying take it to the extreme then. So if the idea is that Zegras, in theory, the hope was going to be that he could maybe be a 1 or 2C. Now we're looking at it. We're not giving it an extended look because we're afraid of whatever.
I think you've already misstated it.
He's a wing or he's a hybrid.
I think you've already misstated it.
Mishkov is the number one guy, the face of the franchise, the guy who's supposed to
you've already
eventually
misstated
be
it.
the most important player on the team long term.
You've already misstated it. The hope that he's a number 1 or number 2C is a fan thing. Yeah, sure. Would the team love for him to be a number 1 or number 2 center? Of course they would. Of course they would. But I think that they made the trade because they saw value in the player, and they didn't give up anything for him. Ryan Poehling isn't even playing for the Ducks. He's been a healthy scratch. So you traded nothing to get a talented player onto your roster, even though they knew in their heart of hearts that the guy's a winger. But they gave up nothing to get him, and he makes the team better. But there was never a belief inside that organization that we just traded for a number 1 or a number 2 center. If he turned out to be that, they'd be thrilled.
Yeah.
But that's not what they traded for. The fans think that's what they traded for, but it's not what they traded for.
Why? Okay, so why did Tocchet spend as much time as he did in the preseason having Zegras play center with Mishkov and actually
because they wanted to take a look at it.
Yeah, they got to take a look at it.
They wanted to take a look at it.
There's another guy that was on that line a few times, Grabenkin. I don't know. He doesn't play, but he also got a look in the preseason.
Right.
It's just interesting to me that you spend the time. It's fine. Take a look at it. Again, I don't.
Preseason hockey is not regular season hockey.
I know, but I'm saying I just don't. I don't fundamentally understand what we're doing here. I don't understand why you would even Danny could have killed that in the cradle when they acquired him. Or even going into the season, Danny and or Tocchet could have said, look, we gave Zegras that look at center in the preseason. We think ultimately he fits our team better as a wing. Are they worried that they're going to hurt his feelings by saying publicly we don't view him as a center? You leave all these things out there for interpretation. That's why the fans get as upset as they do. That's why there are so many questions around it. You have to, at some point, be a little bit better at communicating this stuff.
No, you don't.
I think you do.
No, you don't. You don't have to say a darn thing. You don't have to say anything publicly. You don't. They have their internal communications. They talk to the players. They talk amongst themselves. And whatever they say, sometimes we find out, sometimes we don't. You don't have to say anything. You don't.
I actually looked up Jack Hughes' faceoff percentage lifetime. It is 36%.
Yeah. It's 34 this year. It was 36 last year. And young Zegras is 37%. So
well, Jack Hughes gets you 100 points, though, Russ.
He does.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah, and he's a better
player.
Better all around.
I'm not
player.
trying to compare the two. I'm just saying that Hughes takes a lot of faceoffs and is a very bad faceoff guy, and yet that doesn't preclude his team.
No one is saying that that's what's precluding Zegras from being a center. It's not. But what I've said again, you can give him an opportunity in the offensive zone. You feel better about it in the offensive zone than you do in the defensive side. So that's pretty much it.
We actually had a question. Now, there were a bunch of people who were asking over on Facebook and YouTube and X about the number to call today.
Ah, yes.
We have bad news. There are no phones.
Not tonight.
In the world. There are no phones left. There are no phone lines. It is... In these unprecedented times, we don't actually... Now, there is another show on the radio that is running right now, same time, and it is their normal time.
Right.
And so we cannot preempt them, even though we are the only Flyers radio show this side of Mississippi.
Correct.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
And I know that some of you are very upset about it. So
but you can
call us next week. But I will tell you that there was a question that came in from the bar.
Oh, I like it.
So, I mean, we might not have the phone lines, but we do have questions coming in from the bar. So we'll honor that. And, of course, you can drop them in the comments section
and we'll
on YouTube,
answer them
Facebook.
as well.
If you're watching on X and you have a question, you have to go into old Periscope mode, click the video first, and then drop the comment, and we'll see it on the screen. So this question is from Ron at the bar. Where's Ron? Who's
right here
Ron?
in front of us.
Where's Ron? There's Ron.
Right here in front of us.
Hey, Ron.
Ron asks the question. Asks if a trade is imminent for a center or a defenseman, and who would the leading candidates be? Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, great question.
I saw
Ron.
that the other day that Danny's looking for a depth center.
Yes, that is correct.
I feel like we already have enough, though, right?
So the problem is this: they are not happy, and I wrote about this a couple weeks ago. They're not happy with the fourth line. They're just not, and they don't really have, because the organization is bereft of centers. They don't really have a center in the minors that they would be willing to call up to replace a Rodrigo Abels, right? So he's been on the prowl to try and add a depth center. for that purpose.
And that would move Obels back to the minors?
Well, they'd probably put him on waivers.
On waivers,
and if he doesn't get claimed, then he goes back to the minors.
Okay.
Or they keep him around as the
Extra guy or
13th forward or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, so that's why. It's not like he's looking for a fourth line center because he doesn't want to get anybody else. He's looking for a fourth line center because that's what's really available, right? And he feels like that would upgrade a part of the team. It's not. So yeah, is it true? It's absolutely true. Do I think anything is imminent? No, I don't think that there's anything imminent. I think you start talking to teams now, right? Usually between Thanksgiving and Christmas is when you start doing the groundwork for the trade deadline. Sometimes a guy gets moved right before the holidays, but not that frequently, especially because most teams right now are in it. Like, look at the standings.
Parity galore.
The NHL is a parity league. You have Colorado by themselves, head and shoulders above everyone else. Then you have a collection of 26 teams, and then you have 3 teams that are out of it. And that's it. That's the NHL right now.
It is crazy.
So do I think that the Flyers are going to look to do a couple things? I do, Ron. I do think that they're going to try and get a couple players by March. But do I think it's happening in November? No, I don't.
We have, you know what? Actually, hold on. Before I go to the super chat, thank you, Fawcett. We'll come out to you in a second. The number one name, right? Like, we talked about this the other day, but the number one name out there right now that everybody is hot and heavy for is not a center; it's a defenseman.
Yeah.
And Vancouver looks like there is a chance that they could really look to go to the whole thing. And if that happens, and Quinn Hughes, who's a free agent in 2027, his name's going to come up. Everybody and their mother believes that he's going to want to come back to the East Coast. Obviously, there's the fan fiction that all the Hughes brothers are going to play together in New Jersey, and it's going to be rainbows and smiles. Everybody's going to be happy.
I don't think that one's as much fan fiction. I think that Quinn Hughes would love to play with his brothers.
Yeah, I agree.
Whether or not it happens, we'll see.
Yeah.
But as we talked about the other night, a little hop on 95 or whatever, and it's not far from Philadelphia, and he's got friends who play on the team. And so there's
Zegers is one of his better friends.
And so there's a theory out there.
And he loves Tocchet.
There's a theory out there that maybe that isn't as much of a pipe dream as like a Connor McDavid coming to Philadelphia.
Correct. I agree with that.
So they're between the Tocchet relationship, the Zegers relationship. I don't know. Is he also friends with York and Drysdale? Because those guys all kind of run together. All right.
Yeah.
Regardless, that doesn't feel like a totally insane thing to jump to.
Correct.
The question is, if you're the Flyers, right, how much in theory would you be willing to give up to Vancouver if Quinn Hughes is made available? Do you have assets that are attractive enough to convince Vancouver to move off him? And furthermore, is it worth it to do that now, or do you just wait until he hits free agency in 2027? I will answer the last part first, though. You can't wait for him to get to free agency in 2027 because you run the same risk about going very much in on the 2026 free agent class. If he were to land with another team and likes it and extends,
I think
you have no chance.
I think that there's a possibility, and who knows? I mean, ultimately, Quinn Hughes and probably his agent are the only people who know this. But I think that there's a real possibility that he's willing to go somewhere that's not New Jersey on a short deal and wait for Jack to become a free agent in 2030, and then they sign together somewhere else.
Philadelphia freedom.
No, I'm just saying. I'm not saying it would be here.
Like, they're going to have 25 teams after the money.
Yeah. So that's That's why I think it's more likely that while he wants to play with his brother, New Jersey might not be the best fit, right, for any of them.
Yeah, and you probably wouldn't want to lock in there long term.
New Jersey wants to trade for him, but Vancouver wants his brother Luke.
Right? Trade brother for brother. That would be something.
That would be something. Yeah, he wants to play with his brothers, but the only guy they're asking for is his brother in return.
So look, would the Flyers be interested? Of course they would. Could they put a package together to Vancouver that would be worth Quinn Hughes? Yes, they can. They have enough assets to do it.
Martone or Mishkov's got to be part of that.
I don't know about Martone or Mishkov. I think that they have enough elsewhere.
I would think Forster would probably be a guy that they would.
They're going to want a defenseman.
And York.
Yeah, so that you could, and then you could do prospects and the Toronto first-round pick. As bad as Toronto's going right now, maybe that's an attractive pick all of a sudden, even though it's top 10 protected. Like maybe there's something there. I think there's enough of a package you could feasibly put together for him. that doesn't mean it's going to be the best package, right? And I think it's one that Vancouver would consider, but I also don't know that it beats what other teams can have. So I don't think it's super realistic, but I also don't think it's zero.
Yeah.
For that matter. Yeah.
I'm going to go out to Super Chats. You know what? And don't forget, we have to do our Player of the Week.
Yeah,
so
we got reads. I got a lot of things I got to do.
Get that one queued up.
I got everything ready.
Okay? We don't have a phone line, and all of a sudden the show falls apart.
Yeah.
See what happens here? All right. Andrew Fawcett out there in the fine state of Texas checks in and says, with a near $5 Super Chat. Thank you, Andrew. Says, Zegras seems like he's adaptable. Could he play the right side with Mishkov and Dvorak?
I don't think so. I mean, that's a good question, though. Like, they've never played him on the right. Maybe he just doesn't fit on the right wing, Bundy.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. That's, I mean, could they? They could.
Could be worth a look.
Could try it.
I mean, at this point, why not just give a look here and there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Better than last night.
Yeah, I mean, look, we know Mishkov can play on the right? So he's done it before. It's a strong side, so you could do it. I just think that they're really worried about how that team plays when they're not in the offensive zone.
We have another super chat in here from Kaleem Goodman 9078. Thank you for the super chat. Says Abels is playing with fighters. He's set up for failure.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a lot more there to him though. Like, I mean, do I think he could be a fourth line center with other players? I do. Mm-hmm. I do. I don't necessarily think that he's, not a guy who should play in the NHL. I also don't think he's a guy that should play higher up in the lineup either. I don't think there's enough there.
No.
So,
Garnet Hathaway through 21 games, 0 points.
He's not been good. No. Other than when he's killed penalties, okay. Other than that, Bundy 5-on-5, he's not looked good at all.
He hasn't been on for a goal 4 this year.
Yeah.
No. You know what? He's got to be. I've seen him play effectively before. I don't feel like he's been that pest that he's been in the past.
He was a good player last year.
It feels effectively like just get the puck to the net, scramble the net, make guys have to worry about you on the ice, and he hasn't done that. He's been kind of just another guy on the ice instead of being a factor. He's been a non-factor.
Yeah.
Which, listen, you know me. I just keep, in the midst of me saying, what are we doing here? What's the point? Nikita Grabenkin's not playing. He's been out of lineup. Is it 3 straight games now he hasn't played? Garnet Hathaway's not giving you much. I get he kills penalties. I would love to just, maybe have somebody else try to fill that role for a game just so that you get Grabenkin, who's actually like a decent player, get him on the ice. I know a lot of people, it's pretty fashionable to say how much everybody hates Nick Delorier. I don't hate Nick Delorier, but I'm also not exactly convinced that he's the best thing for the lineup night in and night out. I would go to a 3-man rotation for one of those spots. And ideally, I think in a perfect world, Grabenkin would see the ice 3 out of every 4 games or so, and you rotate between Hathaway and Delorier, and you call it a day. But as of right now, that's not what this coaching staff is doing. They're rolling out 0-point Hathaway and, can drop the gloves and make everybody feel safe Delorier, and Grabenkin is collecting cobwebs as a 22-year-old in the press box, which I don't like. But I do like when we talk about the player of the week. Anthony.
Oh, well, I was going to do this first.
You know what I like even more?
Go ahead. What do you like even more, Russ?
I'll tell you what, I love being at Chickies and Pete's. They got some grub here. I mean, look at all these people out here.
Yeah?
At Chickies and Pete's. They are thrilled.
Good crowd in here tonight.
There's a nice.
Yeah,
I was a little surprised on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Tuesday night. I see a couple glasses of wine over there. I'm seeing some crab fries. I'm seeing some pizza.
A lot of people came up to Bundy for autographs already.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Even before you got here.
Saw pizza. Oh, Bundy. Bundy housed some shrimp.
I did.
I'm getting hungry all over again, and I'm going to eat some crab fries. You tell the people about
each and every week we are at a different Chickies and Pete's, one of the 17 locations in the Philadelphia area. So no matter of the sports season, Chickies and Pete's has you covered. Start your meal off right with some of their delicious red garlic or spicy white wine menu mussels before you indulge in one of their mouth-watering burgers. They have the ultimate tailgate burger, the Fightin's burger. Or you could do like Bundy. The Bundy, which is I think we've called it this now.
Yes.
Because you've done it pretty much every week.
Every time.
Right?
I haven't changed at all.
Right? It's a bowl.
Same thing every week.
It's a bowl of clam chowder.
Yep.
The peel and eat shrimp.
Cold peel and eat shrimp.
And the traditional pizza. Yes, absolutely. That's the Bundy. So I'm sure that if we talk to Pete Shiraki, we could say get it put on the menu.
Just call it the Bundy.
Call it the Bundy, and then people can order it when they go in.
It's like a tasting menu.
It is. It's a sampler.
You get
the Bundy sampler.
Yeah, right.
You've got the cold app, you've got the warm app, and you've got the main course. Lovely. We need to get him dessert. No dessert
There
for
you
Monday
go.
dinner.
No
There you
dessert.
go. No dessert.
No dessert?
No.
Got to watch that figure.
So,
yeah.
You don't get that good looking eating dessert all the time.
That's
Look
right.
at
no,
That's
Ju-
right,
just
Tom.
eat the crab fries.
That's right.
Which we get every week as well. So come out today to one of more than 17 locations. And when you're at the Flyers game, be sure to check out any one of the 2 locations inside Xfinity Mobile Arena. They're in either the East Food Hall or the Southeast entrance in front of Section 103. Now, Russell, it is time for the Payroll Service Solutions Player of the Week.
I think we should play this in like we do intern Andrew on the press row show.
Okay.
I think we should do
Play
a
it
little,
in.
Do
Go
we do a
ahead.
little music?
Got a little music.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, right. But this has to sound like really tough.
Go ahead. Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today, 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Speaking of easy, I think this week's Player of the Week, and that's why I'm glad you played the music, Russ, because I don't think Payroll Service Solutions is going to get the full conversation this week, because I think it's a slam dunk. That the Player of the Week this week, Dan Vladar.
Pretty easy one. He was first, second, and third star in my mind in both games he played at home last week. He was sensational for the Flyers. And they've come to expect good goaltending from Dan Vladar when he starts between the fights, but the Flyers play well in front of him.
I mean, he's top 5 in the NHL right now.
Yeah.
Bona fide stud.
Top 5.
Yep.
It's early. It's 20 games into the season, 21 games into the season. We're not anointing him like a top 5 goalie in April, right now.
I'll anoint him. My father-in-law's a deacon. I can get him anointed.
There you go.
I don't know if we can get him up for sainthood yet, but maybe he's like the blessed Dan Vladar. That's probably sacrilege to say, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll
That's
go
right.
to
You
confession.
conducted a wedding. How you're sacrilegious all over the place.
Well, I didn't commit the sin of schism, though. That's a whole other thing for another day about those those licenses to be an officiant.
Yeah.
Who would do such a thing? Anyway, yeah, he's 2.42 goals against, 8th in the league. 912 save percentage, tied for 9th in the league.
Oh,
Yeah.
so they went down.
Went down,
Yeah, but his numbers are actually stronger right now than they've been at other points when he's been 4th
Yeah.
or 5th in the league.
Yeah.
So, kind of take that for what you will. He's been sensational.
Yeah, he has. He really has. He's the guy that, and Bundy said this off air the other day, but he was spot on. It was, if they awarded the Bobby Clark Trophy tonight, he'd be unanimous.
Yep.
Yes.
And no one else would be a close second.
Yeah, that's 100% right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He'd be the runaway winner right now. He's
Yeah.
been that good for this team. Solid every night. I know he let in 2. The Flyers came back again in that game. They were down 1-0. But, man, I'll tell you what, he had some of those saves. I know it was a 6-3 final in that game.
Yeah.
He gave up 3 goals, but he made some 10-bell saves in that game that could have kept it much closer if he wasn't between the pipes.
Yeah.
He's been just unbelievable.
He was tremendous against New Jersey. He really, really, really was. He'll be in net tomorrow when the Flyers go to Florida. Played well both games against the Panthers.
2.02 goals against average in 2 games against the Panthers this year.
Yeah.
A 933 save percentage.
Yeah, and at 2.02 is funny because he only gave up 2 goals in both games, but he got pulled in one game.
Yep.
So that's why, not pulled, but they pulled the goalie in the one game.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why it's above 2.
Florida won last night. They beat Nashville 8-3.
8-3, yeah. Florida's been playing a lot better
Yep.
than they were at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
So it's going to be a tougher matchup, but he has played well against them.
Yep.
And the Flyers do play pretty good defensively. Like, they limit chances. They don't give up a ton of shots. Same thing last night. I mean, Tampa scored that
2
line.
goals, yeah.
I mean, Hagel had the 2 goals, and then Cirelli had the other goal. Hagel had 3 points in the game, and one of them was an empty netter. But other than that line, Flyers are really good defensively as well in limiting shots. They're that way every night. And so they're going to be in the game. I don't think that this is a blowout by any stretch of the imagination with Vladar in net again. It's going to be interesting to see how they rebound off of last night because they were terrible. They had an off day in Florida today, Russ. Didn't have to do anything, so you're out on the
What could you possibly get into in Florida?
on the beach, getting some sun, right?
Yeah, sure.
Take the day, kind of relax down there, and then get back at it tomorrow. I think that they'll be a little bit refreshed.
They
and
will not be
play a better
home
game.
for Thanksgiving at all. They're going right from Florida to the Islanders.
Yeah.
Before we used to actually come home.
Yeah.
And then leave that night, or we'd have Thanksgiving at home early, then leave that night to get there. But the Flyers are not doing that. They're actually going to miss Thanksgiving Day.
You know how great of a person Paul Holmgren is?
How great.
Every year, on when the Flyers would play on the road on the night before Thanksgiving, rather than make us go sit at the airport on Thanksgiving morning and have to fly home and not get home until mid-afternoon and miss Thanksgiving with our families. He allowed us on the charter.
That's nice.
That's nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's
I used to sit in the back with Bundy when he was a broadcaster.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what you guys were on the plan. I remember Wayne
Yeah.
Fish was on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice, very nice, nice.
And that was
nice
that was a Paul Holmgren gesture.
Look at that.
Yeah, I used to do that. Really, really nice of him
That's
to do
nice.
that, right?
All right.
Yeah. So,
All right.
anyway, so you in agreement with us, Dan Vladar?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
This is only the second unanimous I think we've had of the
Yes,
season,
it
and
is.
I think the last time was also Dan
Dan
Vladar.
Vladar as well.
Yeah.
All right.
I
so-
think we might just have to call this the payroll services Dan Vladar Player of.
there you go.
They
There
have
you go.
against Jersey. He was Jersey, and who was the other game they played right before that? He was at unbelievable.
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
At home.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
incredible
Yep.
in that game too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was your Flyers or your Payroll Service Solutions Player of the Week. Call Payroll Service Solutions. Try and say that repeatedly
Payroll
a lot.
Service Solutions.
It's tough. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions catering to the small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Once again, call them at 1-866-PAY-EASY.
I'm doing a dive into some of Vladar's numbers right now.
Yeah.
When he has 3 or more days rest, he's got a 1.64 goals against and a 941 save percentage. He's 4-1-0 in games where he has that much rest. Mm-hmm. When he's on, on only 1 day of rest, he's he started 4 games, 3-1-0, a 2.73 goals against, 901 save percentage.
Still not bad.
It's that 2 days though.
It's still
the
not
2 days
bad.
is where 2 days exactly is his problem. He goes 3.61 and an 8.64 save percentage.
Yeah, it's still
so just
early.
don't start him on 2 days rest.
Yeah,
Any other time,
it's still short. I
he's
know. I was going
exceptional.
to put that up. There you go, Bundy.
Wish
from
my
Fawcett.
daughter, my oldest is 27 today. Thanks, Andrew Fawcett, for the reminder. I did wish her a happy birthday. Spoke to her for 20 minutes today. She's gone to the Mall of America today, guys, in Minnesota.
How about that?
With her husband for a quick little walk of the mall and then dinner after. So happy birthday.
That's nice.
That's
happy
great.
birthday to my daughter, Isabella.
That's great. That's awesome.
I think the Mall of America is at 5 million square feet. We were looking this up the other day.
Crazy, right?
Our
Like-
kids were talking about like how big the biggest malls in
Yeah,
the country are.
it's nuts.
But there's also a water park in the middle of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
hockey rink.
not exactly fair.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different out there. Do you want to get to my beef with Flyers Twitter of the week?
I guess.
Well, because you haven't heard this yet. Only Bundy and I have discussed this. You haven't heard it yet, so we're going.
We're gonna have to do like an intro for this at some point.
At some point. It's only the second week.
Anthony SanFilippo's Twitter beef of the week.
It's not my personal beef. It's my beef with Flyers Twitter.
Cow.
Yeah, it's my beef with Flyers Twitter.
Okay.
Everybody's out there. Not everybody, but a lot of people are out there. Mm-hmm. They want to fire Rick Tocchet. 21 games into his tenure as the coach of the Flyers, and they want to fire Rick Tocchet. What the hell is wrong with people? Like, why would you want to...
With a winning record.
He's got a winning record in his first season, implementing a new system with a team that lacks high-end skill, and he's doing pretty well. Yes, the offense is struggling. I get it. But you got to give them the runway, right? I mean, you can't... Look, who knows? The guy might end up not being a good coach in 3 years, right? Whatever. But it's 21 games into his tenure, and people are, like, calling for his head. And they're serious about it. Like, this is it'd be different if it was just like, oh, yeah, he's terrible. Fire the coach. Ha, ha, ha. Goofing around about it. There are people who are seriously saying, fire the coach.
Deadly serious, which is just crazy to me. Flyers Twitter is insane. It is. And then it's just like, then you see some of the people who tweet it, and you're like, how'd that tweet get 500 likes?
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, you guys are beside yourselves. I got to tell you, I don't think that those people are totally wrong.
You're
If
out-
I see Nikita Grabenkin
You're
sit for
out of
3
your
more games in a
mind.
row,
You're crazy,
I'm
Russ.
renaming the coach Rick Toccarella.
Oh,
Try me.
You're nuts.
Get Grabenkin out of the press
You're
box. I'm
nuts.
just kidding.
You're
That's fine.
nuts.
I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
you're
But
nuts.
Toccarella, that's going to be his name.
Toccarella?
Every time Grabenkin ends up in the press box,
Yeah.
Toccarella.
Yeah.
He's got to earn his name back. He's getting close.
Yeah. I mean,
You certainly can't. You know what the thing I think people get the most upset about? Because people get upset about everything. I think people are mostly upset with the fact this team isn't a lot of fun to watch. Part of that is because they don't put a lot of pucks on net. And also, it's not an aesthetically pleasing game. Now, you could make the argument, well, they're a defensively oriented team. They're a much more sound team. They're a risk-averse team. There are other teams like, Anaheim's of the world that are also in the midst of a rebuild, and they're playing a little bit more wide open. They're having a little bit more fun out there. And so you look comparatively and you go, I think you could almost make a similar case in some ways to, like, the football team. The football team doesn't play the most aesthetically pleasing, but they get wins. And, are you trying to win pretty or are you just trying to win? And sometimes you just want to win.
Right. I just think it's...
So the football team is also incredibly talented and has a total buffoon.
Yeah, it's asinine. It'd be different. It'd be different if he came in here.
Yeah.
And this team was an abject disaster. And losing, 4 out of every 5 games, just being terrible. The attitude was bad. They weren't buying in right away. Then okay, fine. Then you could say, holy hell, we made a mistake. Get rid of this guy. But that's not the case. It's far from it. They made a 5-year commitment to him. You got to give him the runway.
Yeah, no matter what you think of Rick Tocchet right now, you've got to have to bear with him because he's just started. He's 21 games into a 5-year contract.
Yeah.
He's done a good job for certain things, and he's working with what he has. He's trying to put lines together that make sense on a nightly basis, and that's not necessarily his fault. I don't know if he's got enough players to plug into the spots that he's looking to do, and that's up to the GM to find out and round out the roster for the coach.
Yeah, and like I said, who knows? Guys, he may not ultimately may not be the right coach. We don't know, right? Ultimately, and I want to say that out loud, he may not be. But you cannot, in any way, shape, or form, definitively say today, on November the 25th, 2025, you cannot definitively say he's not the right coach. You cannot. That's it. It's plain and simple. Okay? Good? You good with that?
Do you want me to play devil's advocate?
No, I want Russ's real opinion. I want Russ to respond.
My
to
real
that.
opinion will set you off.
Russ reacts.
Yeah,
I want Russ reacts.
We don't need to have my full opinion. My full opinion will get you worked up, and then I'll get a call from somebody complaining that I'm too negative again. But I'll just say this: where you are currently at, and the results that you're getting, are really not that different from John Tortorella coaching. I don't mean the day in and day out, and I don't mean the interactions with players. I mean ultimately. You are pushing certain buttons to get a team to around 500, and this is typically when I skew negative because I don't see the vision, I say that's hockey purgatory. This is the first year in a long time that I've said, all right, I kind of get it. Mishkov, you got lucky, cool. That would be, Bundy and I always talk about, number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft. That's the elite talent you have to build around. That's what the cup contender ultimately gets, built around. And I think Martone is a guy that probably could have been a top 4, top 5 guy. He fell to them. I think he's going to ultimately be one of the best players in that draft. And so I'm fine with saying, two of the 3 years, you ended up with a stud in the first round. I also think Nesbitt's going to be good. I don't know if I'm ready to put the stud stamp on him yet. And I have no idea about Lachenko, and I'm pretty negative on that entirely, so I'll keep that out of this. But I think you can look at it and say they've gotten some good talent there. They have, for the rebuild. And so this year I was all right, fine. If they want to push it forward, push it forward. But, let's not get it twisted. It theoretically is year 3 of the rebuild. If this team had been bad, or if they had hired a coach that didn't have pedigree or didn't have experience, and it had been a bad team this year, and they had been back in the lottery again this upcoming year, I don't think the fans actually would have been upset. I think they might have been able to get one more year of that before open revolt. I don't think that it would have, killed it. But there is somebody who said in the comments that there might be a sentiment out there that maybe this front office has kind of used up the emotional equity or the equity that they've built up with the fan base. At some point you do kind of have to push it forward because they are where they are. It was this one. Trading his life, 420. Says Flyers managed completely out of runway when fans look around the league at other rebuilds.
Really?
I do think that.
What other rebuilds in the last 3 years? 3 years, because that's all that this management team has been in place. That's 3 years long. That's in year 3 of the rebuild. Is so far and away better than what the Flyers are doing that they are. Oh my God! Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Well, Chicago is probably one of the teams. They've got a lot of good young players.
Yeah.
And they've kind of slow walked that. They've had to
But
bear
that
with a little bit
goes back a little bit further than
a
3
little
years.
bit, but really, I look at it from the start of Bedard.
Right.
Bedard,
So that's
the
3
Bedard
years.
Mishkov draft is really where you look at
Anaheim is an interesting one, too, how they've kind of rebuilt a little bit, too. They're 14-7-1, I think, now.
Yeah, off to a good start. But if you watch the way Anaheim plays, does Anaheim look like a team that's going to win in the spring?
But I'm not talking about teams that are going to win in the spring. I'm talking about teams that have rebuilt and look good right now in terms of where they are.
They're also longer than 3 years,
right.
too.
And there's teams that are falling, too, right now, like Edmonton and Toronto.
Yeah.
Right, where they're going to have to start a rebuild, too, so we'll keep an eye on those teams.
Vancouver
wheels are coming right off.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. How's
San Jose is one that people like to point to.
Well, Celebrini's been off to a great start.
Yeah.
Utah is another team that's kind of
But again, long.
Slowly,
That's
it's been
a
a long
time for them,
They're
right?
starting to finally get players now that are adding up to NHL.
But see, that is what you and I were agreeing about the other night, though, is that, for better or worse, instead of going the long rebuild, and you talk about this a lot, the idea of like this city couldn't have done a 10-year rebuild. I agree. But while it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to win a cup, fans to some extent are kind of willing to take a little bit of the longer pain if it does ultimately net you a bunch of those high-end guys, and you have a situation like Colorado did or one like Florida did, and then they added free agents, and that took them to the next level. I think you can sort of see why some of those other fan bases, like, did they have really bad stretches? They did. But they're in the same place the Flyers are, and the Flyers, instead of kind of bottoming it out, they decided to do the patchwork thing for a lot of years instead of taking it to ground zero. And, like, there is a chance, I'm not saying that it's there right now, there's a chance that, like, this time next year, we stack up the Flyers roster, San Jose, Chicago, Anaheim, and we say, of those 4, the Flyers have the lowest ceiling of those teams. It's possible that this time next year we do. And if we do, then you go, all right, maybe it wasn't the right call to do the Chuck Fletcher patchwork moves. Maybe it wasn't the right call to keep John Tortorella in place and play to the middle, to play into that hockey purgatory. We'll see. It's a longer vision. Like, you do have to zoom out at some point. Yeah. But I think that's why I think that's why there's a lot of frustration with the fan base. But there's nothing you can do.
See, that's the thing. Fans want them to win now, but don't want them to win now. Like, you can't have both sides of it. They're like, well, these other teams are doing great. Why aren't we doing great? Mm-hmm. But then it's like, well, you should lose so that you can go and get those bad players.
I mean, won't the playoffs be enough for the fans this year? Like that's what I would think, right? Is that enough?
If you make the playoffs and it's like very soundly, I think you're probably okay. The thing that I think has taken a lot of the sting out of it and probably has cooled the fan base down a bit is that Gavin McKenna doesn't look like Connor McDavid.
No,
because if he did, you would, I think, have more open rebellion among the fans of like, why are you trying to make the playoffs now when there's that guy? I know you always say the 20% thing, which is true.
Yeah.
But I think that the fact that there doesn't look to be a guy right now who like would be a day one put in like absolute star player, I think that probably helps them a little bit if the goal really is to make the playoffs, which I think it is.
Okay.
Oddly enough, this year I think we are more aligned than we typically are.
Yeah.
I think.
I agree with you. I agree.
But I get why people would be frustrated when you look around the league and you go, because maybe I think when Martone is here, I think if Porter Martone were playing right now for this team and we're finding the goal not quite as much as like Gauthier is, but like if Martone were here and looked really damn good with Mishkov, and if Mishkov hadn't like looked the way that he did to start the year, I think the fan base would probably be a lot cooled off. If Jet Lachenko were playing on the team right now as like the 3C and making things happen, the fan base would probably be cooled off. I think it's just a bunch of those things all added together is what kind of sets them off. And there's nothing you can do. We can't do anything about it. We can just assess the team that's on the ice.
It's impatience is what it is it's impatience.
If all goes well, right?
Yeah.
Lachenko's actually a great place to go now.
Yeah, we have to talk about him.
Because Jet Lachenko got traded. For those who missed the breaking news, we talked about it, yesterday it happened, but
yeah.
Jet Lachenko was traded. Not from the Flyers organization. He was traded from Guelph, who will host the Memorial Cup in 2027. And as we've been talking about, good chance they were going to try to move him for assets. He moves to the Brantford Bulldogs, the top team in the OHL, undefeated this season, as it were. Regulation.
Jet Lachenko, I don't know if you realize this, but in that trade, he actually got traded for 2 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
Really?
At the end of it, yeah. There's 2 kids that are 12 years old right now that will be the future selectors.
So, yeah, he got traded for a player and 4 draft picks. Now, what I think is going to ultimately happen is that with all those draft picks, they're going to trade those for players that can help them be good next year.
Right.
So that since they're hosting Memorial Cup.
Correct.
So I ultimately think that's why they accumulated those picks so that they could then use them as assets down the line. Luchenko had been playing well. He had 6 points over the weekend, 5 assists in 1 game. Which was really good. He now goes to a Brantford team with 5 NHL first-round picks already on the team, and he just goes into that mix as well. He's playing with O'Brien, which is going to be fun, which is going to be interesting and fun. I think he's going to get an opportunity to play with better talent. He's going to make a longer run, maybe play in the Memorial Cup. He's going to play World Juniors. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be really good for his development to be in that situation. And on top of it, and the thing that maybe gets lost a little bit is the head coach of that team is Jay McKee.
Yeah.
And why does that matter? Jay McKee is a former teammate of Danny Briere's. They're very close. Is that if you remember, his name came up in conversation about a potential coaching gig with the Flyers this year, whether it would have been on the NHL roster or with the Phantoms. Ultimately didn't happen because he has a 3-year contract extension with Brantford, which is tough to navigate through, and so it didn't come to fruition. But now the general manager of the Flyers has a direct line to the coach of the team to have a conversation about how the Flyers player is playing and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that's not to say that Briere is going to sit there and make them use him a certain way, but I think that there will be a much more open and honest communication about the player. And so that then Flyers can have better tabs. I think just keep better tabs on him that way, just to have that relationship in place. I think that's a huge, huge thing.
You know, it might be even more valuable. Bundy can speak to this. It's not just the coach evaluating him on the ice. It's having that line of communication. What's he like when he gets off the ice?
Yeah.
What's the human being like? What's the person like? What's the coachability like? And to get that additional layer of insight before he presumably returns back up here to the Phantoms.
I think they have a pretty good idea of who that is as a person already. Mm-hmm. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's not a problem to coach, but it is nice to find out where exactly he's at in his development and where he stands this year compared to other years in the past. I think it'll be really big. It'll be, for me, for Jet Luchenko, it'll be really interesting to see how he performs at the World Juniors this year. I'm looking forward to see how he performs against that high-end talent. He didn't play a lot last year. It was a coach's decision really to keep him. He wasn't a scratch. He just didn't play a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll see how he comes back and hopefully with some fire in his belly for the World Juniors.
Yeah.
Worth pointing out, he had 17 points in 11 games with Guelph.
He had a 5-point game in there, though.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
But like 2 goals, and the rest were assists. 15 assists.
Yeah.
But 2 goals, I mean, obviously the conversation that we had is when he goes back to junior, find that net, man. Figure it out. Take shots.
Yeah, but it's not even just about when they say they want him to shoot more because they want him to score more. Of course, obviously, you want anybody to score more that's shooting the puck, right? Mm-hmm. But by shooting the puck, you're creating opportunities for your teammates to score.
Yeah.
So that's why.
You're also a little bit more unpredictable to defend.
Don't just look at the goals. Look at the shots, right? And so you look at some of those assists that he's getting are coming off the fact that he is shooting the puck a little bit better. Still not where he needs to be, but he is shooting the puck a little bit better. I think that's a key as well. You get those pucks on net. That's going to help. That's going to help.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing for the Flyers. It's a good thing for Jet Luchenko. I think that this means that unless they're upset at some point in the OHL playoffs, that he's probably not going to be back up here before the end of the regular season.
Yeah.
Whereas when he was with Guelph, if he wasn't going to get traded, once they got knocked out of playoff contention or even the playoffs, if they made it, then maybe there would have been time for him to play another 8 games with the Flyers, let's just say, roughly.
Yeah.
But now that's probably out of the equation for the rest of the season. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What else did you want to get to this week?
No, and I want to say this because this guy's. I love when people get me aggravated. I did not.
Keep it up. Keep it up. Trust it.
Yeah.
Get 'em.
When I mean that they're on good terms, all that meant was that they are familiar with each other, having played against each other in the NHL. They know each other. That's what I mean by good terms, right? There's a difference between being on good terms with a guy you know in the league. Like I'm sure there are guys you've played against that you knew, right? Yep. And you see him there. Oh yeah, you have a good, you couple laughs about it.
A good rapport.
A good rapport, right, with them. But there's a difference between that and someone that you went to battle with day in and day out for several years on your team. Correct?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm suggesting. All right. So that's what it is. WJ. Hui vey, these people.
What do you mean?
These people.
What do you mean, these people?
These people.
Let's play something out here. All right. So the Flyers, although despite the fact that they are not home, which means no press row show for the rest of the month of November.
I know.
We are back at it in December, but between now and then, they still have Panthers, Islanders, Devils before they come home.
Yes.
What do we think the record's going to be over the next 3 games? Didn't you say what was your thought? They had to go 1-2.
My thought was they had to go 2-1-1. Obviously, they got the 1 loss now, right? So that makes it harder. I don't know if you're going to go 2-0-1 in these 3 games. I mean, is it possible? Sure, but I don't think so.
I'd want to think that you could beat the Devils.
You just can't go over. You gotta find a win.
If I had to make just a projection right now, I'd say 1-1-1.
Okay,
it's probably what they do over these 3 games.
Well, you're asking them to go out and win another game.
Win a game, get to overtime in a game,
overtime and lose a game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Panthers game could go one of a few ways. Bundy, like, are you we talked about the fact Vladar has been so good against Florida. Is it a risk to go to the same starter 3 times?
No.
But like in this condensed of a time frame? No. Okay.
Doesn't matter. I mean, think of a playoff series.
Yeah.
You're going to play a team. Could play a team 7 times in 14 days. It's no different than that.
Yeah.
The guy, and I think a lot of goalies now too. And coaches will take a goalie if he's got a good record against a team or he's feeling good against a team, that they'll try to get him against that group as often as they can.
Just want to remind everyone before we wrap up the show here from Chickies and Pete's in Parks Casino in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. Russ was just talking about 3 more road games tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. If you need the perfect place to watch one of those Flyers games, go out to Chickies and Pete's. Grab a basket of crab fries. Go with one of their specialty pizzas. Or do the traditional pizza like Bundy likes to get.
Yep.
The hot honey pepperoni, which we still haven't tried. One of these weeks we're going to try the hot honey pepperoni. And also,
research.
If you're going to a Flyers game, stop by the flagship South Philly location, where we will be next Wednesday at 5 p.m. before you make your way inside the Xfinity Mobile Arena. Go to chickiesandpete's.com to check out for all of their upcoming events and more.
That was fantastic.
Great stuff.
Nice job out of you.
Thank you.
Now,
you do it enough, you start to get better at it, right?
I guess so. That's what they say. So,
you would know. You have 4 children.
And there we are. The FCC won't let me be.
I do. I have the fewest of the 3 of us, so I'm a little. Something's wrong with me.
That's true. There are many things wrong with this guy. Believe me. Before we head out, I thought it would be appropriate if we told the people, as always, that we are thankful for them. So I'm going to throw the Thanksgiving theme up there on the feed. But we are grateful. We are thankful for all the people who join us live on the radio, of course, here on WBCB, and, of course, over on YouTube, Facebook, X, the people who listen after the fact in the podcast feed. And I have to tell you, the wildest thing that has happened this year, and I think you've noticed this too.
Yeah.
There are more and more people when we're at games and even especially away from games now. I get stopped more this year than at any point with people saying, hey, saw the show, love the show.
Yeah.
So I feel like the overall number of people that are checking out this show, whether it's the full episode, the clips on YouTube, the short form stuff on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and everything, there are a lot of people out there, and we're thankful for all of you.
And you know what? You know why those people are able to see us?
Why is that?
I'm thankful for Video Guy Amadeo. He's putting out all those clips of us on social media, and they're getting a lot of people are seeing us. I have people who aren't even sports fans who say, your face is on my feed all the time. That's good work by Video Guy Amadeo. So thankful for you, my friend.
We're thankful for him. We're thankful for intern Andrew and all of his trivia bits and his stat of the night.
Might have some exciting news for intern Andrew soon.
And being a delightful human being to be around at the Press Row Show.
Yeah, stay tuned for that.
We're thankful for those locks that are going to hit the floor, Bundy, when you shave his head.
gonna be a
charity. We're
beautiful
gonna do it for
thing.
charity.
Charity.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
make a doll out of Andrew's hair. Put it on. Yeah. I think he's looking forward to it. Actually.
You think so?
Deep down, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
He's gonna come back. He's gonna be like Eminem. I think that's what he's gonna do. So anyway, I guess time for us to go.
Yep, it is.
A big thank you to everybody who tuned in live. A big thank you to everybody who listens after the fact in the podcast feed. We are thankful for each and every one of you. I'm thankful for you goofs.
Thankful for you guys. Thankful for our fans. Happy Thanksgiving to all of
Happy
you
Thanksgiving,
out there.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number one side, go quick. Number one side on the plate. Thing you like the most on the Thanksgiving
Stuffing.
plate.
I love stuffing too, but I would say my number one is still sweet potatoes.
I love a good Brussels sprout with pancetta.
I like
Sounds
it.
good, too.
I like it.
Nice little textural thing. I
Yeah.
got a brisket that I have to prepare for tomorrow. Overnight brisket.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Thanks for tuning in to Snow the Goalie, the Only Flyers podcast. We'll talk to each and every one of you next week at Chickies and Pete's. Bye now.